Hey, what's going on, guys? I got a Doomsday Alliance war right now. I just logged in. I think I might be like 1 or 2 seconds late, but I figured, I'd record it, talk a little bit about kind of the Doomsday battles and how they differ from just regular kill events, and yeah, just pretty much record it and talk about what I'm doing and stuff like that. So we'll see. It doesn't look like we have an opponent yet. Like I said, I just logged in, so we'll look at that in a second. My workday pretty much just finished, so yeah, just kind of getting logged in and doing all that shit like that. Oh, okay. Bummer. Yeah, okay. Well, looks like we probably aren't going to declare because there's only 327, 461, and 329. That's what they were saying. So I guess we won't have a Doomsday War. I guess this recording is botched. No, probably not. I'm feeling pretty good, so I'm gonna crack open this beer. And we'll record the next session of the Doomsday skills. So we might declare on one of our own guilds, Boo, or we'll declare on 461. 461 is kind of a power state. I guess it's the strongest state in the 400s. Damn, this smells pretty good. But I guess it's the strongest state in the 400s, so we kind of wanted to avoid that. We also don't want all of their tiles in our state, which is basically what happens if you battle a new state. We battled 338 the first duel, so we've kind of just been sitting in here infiltrating them with tiles and shit like that. And just doing a tile war. We don't really need the same with 461, but we'll see if that comes. In the meantime, I'll do a video talking about the red combat specialty tree while reading the chat a bit. So basically the red tree is all about dueling, all about troop power, troop might, resistance, things like that. Generally the two avenues, there's kind of three branches. There's a north, a southeast, and a southwest. Southeast is basically all about getting these final skills down here, in particular these two. So you end up needing a lot of points to put into this red tree to pretty much go all the way down here. Anyway, so the middle tree, you get increased shooter siege resistance, 6%. Kind of the lowest branch you get vehicle siege resistance, and the highest branch you get fighter siege resistance. So that's fairly makes sense. And then the vehicle branch will be here, the shooter branch is in the middle, and the fighter branch is at top. Up, you can either go up and down. You'll get more might. If you go down, you'll get more resistance. If you go up, and it's the same thing for vehicles, same thing for fighters. And then the middle is just might for each three. So Siege Might works a little bit differently. Siege Might than regular Might. Siege Might only works on base-to-base attacks. So these points are only relevant if you're attacking another base. Whereas regular Might, or what's sometimes called attack, works on pretty much everything. Tiles, bases, reinforcing, and things like that. Even zombies, that's one thing to mention. Nobody kills zombies, but anyway. Then you get this middle skill, so Siege Expertise. This isn't like an active skill, but it gives you minus 10% damage taken during siege. So again, a siege battle means base to base. So taking minus 10% damage is very good, very significant. You can't see this on like the battle reports. It's not just going to say minus 10%. So you kind of have to do the math. If I took 10% more kills, or sorry, more damage, would I have lost? Things like that to tell kind of how valuable it was. Again, kind of it follows the same concept going down. So vehicles on the bottom, shooters in the middle, and fighters up top. And then again, you know, you gain might and you gain resistance, might, resistance, might, resistance, and then excuse me, and then just might for these middle ones. And then you pretty much have another passive skill, but it's kind of exactly the opposite. So it's plus 10% damage dealt during siege. Again, you're not actually going to be able to see this on the battle reports, but it does play a big effect. 10% damage is basically just damage across the board. So we'll see. I'm in a Last Shelter Discord. I'll leave it I'll leave a link in the description. It's kind of a big Last Shelter Discord. There's an advisor there called Niles. He said he was going to do a reverse engineering kind of activity to talk about all of the kind of different combat attributes and how they actually play into a role. So if he does that, that'd be super awesome. But I just wanted to, you know, mention it now. So, and then it follows the same thing. This tree is pretty basic. How they set it up, it looks very confusing, but it's pretty easy. So the bottom is just all vehicle stuff, the middle is all shooter stuff, the top is all fighter stuff, and then we get to the skills that actually matter. So invisibility, it's an active skill. You become invisible. Your base literally becomes invisible. The enemies can't view the marching line. So normally if you're marching to a tile or to a base, you see that little dotted or dashed line going across and like a little APC. If you have this active, you can't see that. And also when you have the battle reports, it'll say a camouflaged enemy attacked you. So you can't actually see the name or anything like that. This lasts for 60 minutes and it's a 2-hour cooldown. Most of the people who use this are rogues. So they'll just use it in their own state and attack. But it can be nice for kill events as well. You can kind of attack, you know, from across the map or something like that, and you're not going to get seen. The top skill is Taunt, and Taunt is very cool. So it basically turns off your peace shield and taunts. Pretty much just, I don't think this actually means anything. If you guys know if Taunt actually does anything, let me know. As far as I know, it just turns off your peace shield. It lasts 30 minutes. And you just gain an additional 30 might. So when you're attacking, your shield is basically always down anyway. Because that's just how the game works. So it's basically just a free 30% might, and it's a pretty low cooldown, 2-hour cooldown. So like once a duel. Duels now last 2 hours instead of like 4 or whatever they were before. And then finally this last skill over here, when firing a missile strike, there's a 50% chance for a direct hit, and this lasts 30 minutes. This one's not great. It's pretty good if you're kind of a farm, or you know you just send missiles all the time. It's definitely not bad, and you can have, you know, all of these active at the same time. So if you wanted to put in extra points here, you can. A direct hit just means it gets through the anti-missiles. So yeah. So that's the southeast branch. The southwest branch, it kind of works similar. So vehicles at the top, I don't know why they like switched it up, but vehicles at the top, shooters in the middle, fighters at the bottom. And instead of siege resistance, it's siege defense resistance and siege defense might. So this one's just regular siege might and siege resistance. This is siege defense. So it's a little bit different. The normal one is attacking. So if I attack another base, my siege might and siege resistance will play into effect. If a base is attacking me, I will only get the siege defense, resistance, and might. Pretty much the same thing, so I'll cover this quickly. And you can apply it to the shooters and fighters. So the first one is just +6 resistance. And then again, the top is might, the bottom is resistance, and then the middle ones are might. Here's a passive skill, so you take 5% less damage in battle. The other one's minus 10% damage taken during siege. This is during battle, and so battle is basically across the board, which is why it's a lower percentage. So it's not just base-to-base combat is what I'm trying to say. And then again, resistance, might, resistance, defense, might. And then plus 10% damage dealt during siege defense. So again, if someone is attacking you, then you get an additional might. You need both. So if you're defending, you want both might and resistance. If you're attacking, you want both might and resistance. Some people look at might as just being like, if I'm attacking, I only need my might up or my attack up. But that's not how the damage calculations work at all. Again, resistance, might, and then might. And then you get these skills over here. So these aren't as good, but when your defending troop count is 1, siege defense troop might plus 10. Not good. I mean, I don't know when this situation really happens, but yeah. Then you get unbreachable, is this other skill over here. So when your wall durability is above 90%, you get extra 10% resistance. Basically meaning if you haven't been hit yet, you get more resistance. This is pretty good. It's very good if you're going to be doing the destroyer missiles. Okay, yeah, we still haven't declared on anybody. Sorry, I was just making sure. This is very good if you're the person activating a destroyer missile, or you're the person, in, I guess, the launch center, in a launch center battle, and everybody's reinforcing you. If they don't bust through you, you're going to have plus 10, and that can be a big difference maker. Once they get through you, though, unless you re-heal up your durability, this will just completely go away. It'll be 0. And then switcheroonie, when your city wall durability is lower than 80%, there's a 60% chance to trigger a random teleport and escape. And this does a 2-hour cooldown. This is not really good. It basically just means instead of getting zeroed, you're just going to teleport away. Getting zeroed isn't a big deal. So it's not the end of the world. Your base doesn't disappear. You don't lose anything. You just teleport. This is obviously ineffective in Eden. Eden, you basically need to make teleport pads, and it takes 2 hours and stuff like that. This would be OP if it wasn't the case. So that's the left one. It's basically siege defense. The southwest is just siege battles. Yeah. And then going top, it's conquest. So basically the same thing. Vehicle resistance, might, as you guys can guess, shooters in the middle, fighters. This first skill, minus 10% damage taken during the Doomsday Conquest. So it says it right here, it's ineffective in base combat. Doomsday Conquest is basically an attribute you'll see for tile battles, for honor structure battles, or for Alliance Center. If you're in the Alliance Center. I don't know why I had a brain skip there, but that's what Doomsday Conquests are. So it's not if you're attacking a base, but it plays a big role. Oh, I guess we declared. Nope. Okay. Phew. It plays a big role in these tile battles. So let's just look at this. Let's look at his attributes. Doomsday Conquest, so attack 29%. He's probably getting that from his fortresses, his alliance fortresses. But it would do the same thing. So you'd get minus 10% damage taken during a tile battle. Again, the same thing here. Don't have to explain that again. Then Conquest Master, it's basically the exact opposite. You'll deal 10% more damage during the Doomsday Conquest. So pretty self-explanatory there. I apologize for the noise. Yeah, there's a big plane going by. Can't do much about that. But anyway, then there's again the same thing. Vehicle, blah blah blah. And now you get to these skills. These skills are pretty interesting. There's kind of these flags. So the one on the right, Pioneer Flag, you place a flag that lasts 30 minutes. And so you basically just put it on a spot. It's not going to take up anything, but that's where you put it. Allies that attack the target's 5 tiles within the flag will have minus 10% durability, minus 10% combat command. minus 10% APC energy cost. So kind of all of these. Basically just meaning, instead of when you attack somebody, you use 10 durability. Instead of that, you'll be using 9 durability. And this goes up to 50%. So instead of 10 durability for an attack, it'll be 5. And the energy cost is basically just, instead of durability, for whatever reason, in Eden, it's energy cost. And then combat command is, you basically get 1,000 combat commands a day. I'll show you where you can find that, right up here. So I guess 916, I'm not really sure. So that's what the combat command thing is. That's the Pioneer flag. You basically place it and you buff all your allies. The Raider flag is basically the same thing. So you place it, it lasts for 30 minutes. Allies within that kind of range of that flag, you get 10% demolition. Not as good. It can be useful for, Edens or for very quickly bursting down like an Alliance Center. I guess if you're doing like a rush and you guys are very equal and you're both just rushing each other's Alliance Centers, if you place this flag down, you're probably going to win, but it's very, very uncommon for this to actually do much. This one's better because you basically get 2 attacks. Like, you get double the attacks is what I mean to say. This one you just get 10% on each attack. I guess they actually come out to the same thing, more or less. Because 10% on every attack. If you did 10 attacks, it'd be 100%, which is double. So they're kind of the same. As far as I know, you can stack these flags. So if you had both and you put them on the same place, you would get both, which is kind of the best way to do it. So if you're really interested in being like a flag carrier, you can certainly do that. And then the top one, Legion Troop Command Cap. So Legion Troops are basically, it's a much higher level thing. You can't even do it in your first several Doomsdays, and I think you need your national quest level to be above a certain level. But then you can place these like buildings, these, what are they? Garrison buildings or whatever, and you can enter them, and then your R4s or R5s are supposed to be able to assign a Legion commander, and they can use your troops. I don't even think it's implemented in the game yet, but that's kind of what this Legion commander thing is. So like I said, it's not even like implemented, so there's really 0 point in putting this, but it's only 1 point. Anyway, that's sort of the red tree. It's fairly simple. Southwest is siege might, so attacking, and siege resistance. So if you're attacking another base, the one to the left is if you're getting attacked by another base, and the one to the top is tiles, tile battles, honor structure battles, and alliance center battles. So basically duels or tile wars. Pretty much what I do is, for Doomsday, for regular Doomsday, for your regular Doomsday duels, going up is the most effective, because this will work for both. The Conquest Might and Resistance works whether you're the attacker or the defender. So I can show you that very quickly. Maybe it's this guy. Nope. Somewhere down here. Probably right here. Here we go. So I attacked his plot. As you can see, I'm getting 69 Doomsday Conquest attack. He's getting 108 Doomsday Conquest attack. He was on defense, so it works for both. And this is basically all from either his Guardian Fortresses, or if he has the red skills, which I doubt he does, it's probably just Guardian Fortresses. His are just much higher level than mine. So that's kind of why Doomsday Conquest has sort of a double effect, but it's not for base versus base. So for Doomsday Wars or Tile Wars, going north is definitely the play, and you can just decide if you want vehicles or shoot. You can even do all three if you had enough points. After Doomsday, so usually once Doomsday ends, what I do is I reset all of my points and I put them in the southeast and the southwest. These attribute increases will work whether or not the Doomsday season is open. So I reset it, put them in here. Generally what I do is, since I'm usually attacking with my vehicles, I just unlock all the vehicle stuff. It doesn't really, in my opinion, might and resistance are basically equals. So it doesn't really matter which one you do. You just pick one. So if you wanted to pick all resistance, you just pick resistance, get this, do all the vehicle ones, blah de blah. And then if you want, get this skill, but I usually look for taunt. And then since I have, quite a few points, I can also put it in the southwest branch. So I get my fighter siege defense up. So my fighters are usually they're my first APC in my garrisons generally. So I just figure I usually don't attack with them because they're fairly slow marching. So I will just put it in siege defense. Because like I said, siege defense is basically if they attack you, that's when you get these attributes. So I'll put my fighter stuff in here and just go all the way down to basically this one, or these. It depends on how many points you have. I don't really care about these skills at all. So just down to this like max. Usually I don't think I have enough points. Generally I forget where I get to, but probably this one. It doesn't really matter. You can just max out your points in here once Doomsday Battle's over. Like I said, if Doomsday is still going on, you can pick these, or that's what you want to do. You want to go north. You can place these flags, but they're not that great, in my opinion. But, I mean, feel free to do what you want. Generally, I don't recommend splitting. So if you're going to go red, go all the way red. Or at least get enough for like these, and then you can maybe split. Like let's say you need an extra processing queue or something like that. That's completely fine. But I wouldn't go like 20 points into red and then like 50 points into blue or whatever. If you're going to go red, you should go pretty far into red, in my opinion. Because generally what happens is if you have less points, you lose access to some of these other things, like this territory caps, for example. Some of these skills, the land development skills. So that's what I'd recommend. Anyway, I was planning to do a Doomsday War video today. However, that'll be saved for later. OpenWide puts it pretty nicely, fail. But anyway, we'll cover the red skills now. So in the Doomsday in-depth series, I'm also going to be doing a video basically, or a couple more videos on Doomsday. So some will be covering Eden specifically. There's a lot of information about Eden. It's still fairly new to me. I've only done one season. I've done multiple seasons of what's now considered Total War. But I'll do Eden specific guide, in-depth guide. And then also I'll be talking about kind of what to do in Doomsday, what your first day should look like, your first week, etc., and then talk about sort of the different stages of Doomsday. Because really it is a staged sort of event. It lasts for like 50 days or whatever, but you'll definitely notice that there's different stages, and you'll want to play a little bit differently depending on those stages. I'll also give some good tips on, fastest ways to level up, good ways to get honor. I've had a recommendation for that in the comments. So I'll be talking about honor gains, stuff like that. So stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed, the videos. I'll definitely try to get a Doomsday War up with commentary. So, I'll kind of explain the different roles that people take and kind of what you can do. If you don't have the best heroes, it doesn't matter. You can still be extremely effective in Doomsday. Generally, the alliances that win are the most active alliance. You don't necessarily have to be the strongest bases, but the most active alliance will get very high up in the rankings, or even take rank 1. Usually you need at least one monster base though to bust through, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this beer, settle down, and yeah, I hope you guys have a great night, great day, great morning, great whatever. If someone sees this in a year, have a great 2021. But as always, thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and all right, peace.